We have our first international guest all the way from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
International touring guitar player and orca whale activist, Heitor Crespo.
Heitor
Heitor, you gotta take your iPad and do the little shaky thing again.
You're
You're sideways.
Sideways, my friend.
I'm sideways again.
You were
Yeah.
sideways. All the way in Brazil,
Maybe because it's
sideways.
on the other side of the world. Is that a factor?
The hemispheres definitely have something to do with it.
Did that get
But
better?
There it is.
blazers. Looking great.
Heitor, most important question of the night, what time is it there?
Right now it's about 10:30.
10:30, okay,
Oh.
so it's not that bad. It's only
Yeah,
2 hour
just
difference.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get into it, you're gonna play us a song tonight. Tell us about what's the song you're playing.
Well, this song we're gonna discuss the project in a little bit, but it's James Burton's first single that he released in 1965. But I have some really cool musicians that are backing me up on this track, and that we're gonna talk in a little bit. So yeah, it was basically his first solo record released at Miramar Records back in the day. So pre-Elvis and pre all the good stuff. So.
Wow.
And just for our viewers at home, James Burton, who we'll get into, was one of Elvis's original guitar players.
Yes.
Yes.
That's super exciting. So yeah, hit it.
Awesome.
Cool. Tickling that
is so
guitar.
Do it while reading ad copy.
Yeah. Heitor, what are you doing every Monday? We are looking for a new guitar player.
Fair enough. We had a good run.
Well, that'll
So
be
that's great.
interesting.
Okay, so tell us about this exciting project. So, you specialize in the retro guitar stylings of Elvis Presley guitar players, Scotty Moore and James Burton. And so tell us more about this. You're working with them? Is that what's going on?
Well, so it's a long story, but I'm gonna try to make this as brief as possible. When I was about 15, James Burton came to perform in Brazil, and by the time I was already performing with Elvis tribute artists, basically like Elvis impersonators here in the area. And I got to meet him, and for some reason we just clicked, and he invited me for sound check. We hung out a little bit, and I didn't think that nothing was gonna come out of it. But by the end of the night, his road manager invited me to be an exchange student back then.
That's awesome.
And I traveled and lived in the U.S. for about a year in Shreveport, Louisiana, and was kind of in touch with James during the whole year. And about a couple of years later, I got contacted by one of Elvis Presley Enterprises' ultimate Elvis tribute artist, Sean Clush's manager. And they were gonna do a gig in Chile, and they had some of the original, musicians that backed Elvis back in the day. And I just went there, played the first gig with them, and got hired. And it's been 8 or 9 years that I've been performing with them, and it's been incredible. We shared stage with a lot of the original people. We shared the stage with like DJ Fontana until his passing, like for 5-6 years. Shared the stage with him. A bunch of the musicians that backed up Elvis, basically. So
Yeah.
it's been an interesting learning progress in this time.
That's so cool. So you're doing so now you're working on this project with Elvis Next Generation campaign, which it reintroduces Elvis music to younger listeners. Tell us, yeah.
So 7 or 8 months ago, I got a message from this crazy maestro here in Brazil that he works in a project. It's a social project here in Brazil where they give free music lessons to children in need. And kids that can't afford to get musical instrument lessons or anything, and they reach about 3,000 kids. And the main guy that takes care of this project, he's a huge Elvis fan. So to keep the orchestra going, since they do have help from the city council here, but it's like anywhere in the world, there's not really a lot of money coming in from the politicians here. He does special shows like every couple of months or so to kind of get some money together. And one of the shows was an Elvis special, and I went there and I performed with like 70 kids in their youth orchestra. And it just like blew my mind how well they could play. And actually on the track that I performed this, I'm working on an album paying tribute to James Burton. And these kids are actually the musicians that are backing me on the album. So we have
That's cool.
strings, horns, and everything. It's kids from like 9-year-olds until 15, 16-year-old kids. So they're incredible. They're just amazing. And it's basically, I'm trying to use this album as kind of a little leverage to, bring some more money during these difficult times for them to purchase musical instruments and, clothing for the shows and everything.
That's amazing.
So, and this is slightly off topic, but you mentioned the interesting times. So, what's it like down in Brazil right now? I mean, can you give us, what's going to the market? What's it like?
Well, Brazil right now is in a very rough situation. Our action was kind of a little bit delayed to the situation that we're living right now. And basically our country is like 50% of the people live in it, 50 doesn't live in it. So they are still hopeful for, July and August to reopen some stuff. And the orchestra, actually right now, we're doing online classes for the kids to try to keep them connected through music. But we don't really have like an estimate time of things going back.
Right.
In that sense. But I think like, everywhere else in the world.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's back to normal soon, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So listen, you're a great guitarist, but you're also doing something really cool as well. You're working with Orcas. Tell us more about that.
Well, I was, bit by the bug during the Free Willy generation.
Me too.
Really fan, of course, like every, most of the kids back in the day. But kind of like music took my focus away from it a little bit. And but I always wanted to be a marine biologist, and everything was always, the plan B. If music didn't work out, I would, run to college. And through this time, I got on a Christmas, my girlfriend gave me a book, and from then on, it kind of like brought back a lot of that passion. And through the book, I read one of the scientists' names that conducts research in the Pacific Northwest in the U.S. And I just added her on Facebook and, talked to her a little bit about how I wanted to help them. And it's been 3 years that I'm part of this institute that they conduct non-invasive behavioral and bioacoustic research on 2 orca populations in the Pacific Northwest, which one is doing pretty good, but one of them it's like critically endangered. So we try to bring awareness, and I use the shows and as a as a point to bring some information to people and kind of spread the word a little bit. It's a very tough situation there. I always thought that Brazil was very bad at environmental issues, but the U.S. is not really behind Brazil in that sense. It might be actually having a little bit more of issues right now. And so it's been a constant political fight there. This population, we just have 72 orcas left in this particular hive. And
these
they're
are
basically
your
the ones-
photos, right, Heitor? These are yours.
Oh yeah, we're
correct?
showing some photos
Yes.
that you sent us right now. Yeah.
Yes, this was taken last summer while I was over there in San Juan Island is the name of the place. So we just tried to spread information about the situation over there and the threats that this population faces, which the main one is spray availability. They are very picky eaters. And this particular population eats salmon only. And it's, salmon is endangered. Wild salmon is already endangered. So back in the 50s, we just put dams in every river in Washington. And that completely ruined the salmon runs and how they reproduce and everything. So the biggest campaign that we have right now is that there are 4 dams in the Snake River, which is a river in Washington State. And, every scientist always points to that place saying, if we take those 4 dams down, we can bring a little bit of the salmon back and maybe try to get some food for these orcas. But politics always point to smaller problems and everything, but we've been finding quite hard to spread information that that's the main problem that we should focus on.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I try to do the best I can with that. Like my guitar picks, I have, I got them made with like #FreeTheSnake, that if anybody goes online in any, social media platform and looks for, #FreeTheSnake, they kind of get the whole overall story and what's the deal with the dams on the Snake River and what you can do to help, to get them breached.
And where can people go to help? Is there a website? Do we have a link for them that people can check out?
So if you guys want to check out the Institute page, they have on Facebook a fan page, which is Orca Behavior Institute.
Yeah, we've got it on the bottom of the screen right now, actually, Facebook,
Awesome.
Orca Behavior Institute.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Great.
That is the institute that I'm, a part of, and we always post, updates and action plans. If anything is going on that we need public comments or anything, we always post over there and keep people updated.
Great. Well, Heitor, thank you so much for being on the show. Keep up the great work and spreading the love and the music, and come back and play for us sometime.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Multi-talented.
Thanks, Heitor.
Lots of interest.
All right.